At the top of a warm, dry cycle, you get scams and fraud. The current man-made global warming scam is one of them. But it wasn't the first. Remember ozone? Back in the 1980s, there was this skin cancer scare that was simply based on a theory. The theory was that Freon, a substance used in refrigeration and aerosol cans, could break up the ozone layer in the stratosphere. Now, this theory has never been proven, and the science says that it's unlikely to ever be proven. But politicians got on board, and we banned the substance in the Montreal Protocol agreement in 1987. Lo and behold, when you look a little deeper, you find that all of this happened at the exact same time that a company named DuPont was losing its patent on Freon, meaning that anyone could now be able to manufacture and use it. DuPont would lose their monopoly. But let's get back to the science. The stratosphere is a layer around the Earth about 25 to 50 kilometers above the ground, and that's where you find ozone. It's being created there. Ozone is formed when sunlight, or ultraviolet rays, meet oxygen molecules. The UV rays in sunlight turn the oxygen, 2 oxygen atoms, into ozone, 3 oxygen atoms. But ozone is very unstable, and when introduced to chlorine, breaks down into single oxygen atoms. These two processes happen over and over again way up there in the stratosphere. Now, Freon contains chlorine, and that's about the only connection between Freon and ozone, because Freon molecules are over 4 times heavier than oxygen. So there's no way they're ever going to go up into the stratosphere. I mean, it would be like putting a brick in a swimming pool, and bricks don't usually float to the top. There are 2 zones with reduced ozone at the top of the atmosphere. Now, they're over the north and the south poles. The area over the south pole is the larger of the 2. Now, the idea is that Freon somehow not only floated to the top of the atmosphere, but found its way to the poles and did its nasty work there. Now, the real reason that there isn't much ozone around the poles is they're the 2 areas on Earth that get the least sunlight. In winter, they're dark 24 hours a day for 6 months. Now, Freon can't form without sunlight, and ozone levels haven't changed since we found out about them. Now, what's more, chlorine, which is the real culprit in breaking down ozone, exists in huge quantities in the atmosphere from natural sources. It evaporates from seawater, for example, and gets into the stratosphere through thunderstorms, hurricanes, and the like. Volcanoes pump out millions of tons of chlorine. Forest fires add millions more tons to the atmosphere. And here's the paltry amount that could get added from all of the Freon in cans and refrigeration if we could somehow get Freon to travel 50 kilometers up into the atmosphere and break down into its parts, which it doesn't like to do. So what's the real reason it was banned? Well, let's go back to DuPont and their patent. It was about to end, and Freon, which costs about 50 cents per pound to manufacture, would have been available for all their competitors to use. So while they supported this crazy science and pushed for a ban on Freon, they got busy and created an alternative series of products that are up to 20 times more expensive. And of course, consumers pay for that. And they have the patent on all of these new products, of course. Now, governments love this because they get their fair share through taxes. So it was a win-win situation. Now, I'll let you be the judge as to how much truth there is to the Freon ban. In any event, the result of it has cost the public billions of dollars based on science that really makes no sense. This is the kind of fraud I see all over the place, and it's usually a byproduct of a warm, dry cycle, which we're in right now. It leads to a major revolution. That's happened all through history. So, it's not like we won't see more fraud like this before it's all over.